All right, very good. Thank you, Paul. And I want to thank everyone for being here. 5 days till the most exciting time of the year. UB opens up at Pitt, and certainly couldn't be more, proud of the way our football team has gone out and handled 3 weeks of camp. Very energetic, very businesslike. And to Buffalo. I mean, what a tremendous city, football city, and a lot of great fans. And and what we want to do is accomplish by delivering a Division 1A football program to Western New York. So the fans and the people in this community will enjoy watching this football team play. And we have to get them on the road first. We're not going to come home until next weekend. But we're certainly excited about the challenge that we face in 5 days. I really like the way our coaches and their approach to evaluating our personnel. A lot of great teachers, did a tremendous job in terms of making some tough decisions. We're going to bring 66 players on the road to compete against Pitt, and we've had to make some tough decisions, but they've done a great job. And I'm also very proud of our players and the work that they've put in and the time, really not just in camp, but over the last 8 months. And none more proud of this big guy here next to me, Matt Ostrowski. As you know, I've witnessed firsthand the courage and the strength of this gentleman in terms of just getting himself back into the starting lineup. It's been inspiring. He's made a big difference in our offense and really helping to shore up that position that we needed to make improvements in. And I'm like everyone. I'm eager to see this football team compete Saturday and to see what kind of football game that's going to be played against Pitt Saturday. So with that, I'll open up to some questions.
Coach, the thing that jumps out on the two deep is the Pat Wilson. What's the situation there?
Well, right now, Pat's working on potentially needing some time for a shoulder. He had a situation where he kind of got it caught in a tough position, and right now it doesn't look like he'll be ready to play against Pitt. We'll have further information as our medical team continues to evaluate him. So Pat's not going to be playing Saturday. So we've asked Gabriel Barb to step up and go over there, and and he's really done a nice job for us. So we're looking forward to seeing his progress and seeing how he plays against Pitt Saturday.
So it's not something that's going to be long term, right?
Well, we're not quite certain yet, Bob. I mean, we're still working through that process with our medical team. So until I get further information, I'll be more than happy to let you know what the update is with Pat right now.
Coach, have you matched up with Coach Graham before? Because it seems like he has a little bit of a mentality you brought last year with the speedy offense and could really be unfair on Saturday.
Well, Coach Graham is a very successful football coach, and he likes to push the tempo as I do, and you're setting a tone. With that mentality. And, they're trying to rattle off plays in a very short period of time in between. There's not much pause in between plays. And, and they're implementing a new offensive system, defensive system, special team system, with a new coaching staff. We went through that a year ago, and certainly it's going to be exciting to see how these two offenses, compete. But, when you look at defensively, they've got a lot of very, very talented football players. So I know Coach Graham is a tremendous football coach. He's got a lot of good coaches on the staff, and they got a lot of good personnel. So it's going to be a big challenge for our kids to compete against Pitt and the way they operate their offense and defense.
How do you scout them with it being a new coaching staff and a complete new? Do you watch as much Tulsa video as you might have watched Pitt video?
That's a great question, Paul, because we have watched Tulsa, we've watched Michigan, and we've watched Pitt. So these are not easy. In terms of it's not a lot. It's not as easy to get ready for these kind of games because they are the first games. It's a new staff. Do I believe that there's a lot of Tulsa in what they're bringing to Pitt? Absolutely. So we do feel very strongly. Their defensive coordinator's been with them for a number of years and a lot of their coaching staff. But they also offensively have the coordinator from Michigan. And so, we think there's going to be some blending of what they did at Michigan along with what they did at Tulsa.
As such large underdogs going into the game, would you say there's a sense of intimidation
Well, every game we have no question we respect our opponent. We fear no one around here, and I think it's important as we see every single year and every single game. There's only going to be 11 guys out there for them as us, and we feel strongly about our personnel and our players and our scheme and our coaching, and that's why you play these games. We know Pitt's a great football program. I said it the other day. When we played them when I was at Cincinnati. Our first year we were down there, they beat us by 7. The next year we beat them by 3, and the last year we were there, we only beat them by 1. So we know there's a lot of tradition, a lot of that program's had a lot of success. So but we're going in it with one goal and one objective, and that is to play our very best and have the outcome that we all expect.
Jeff, what's the biggest difference for you in your second year? What's the biggest benefit to your way your team will play, your ability to coach? What's the main difference from where you were when you sat here a year ago?
Well, I think just, having more time to really establish, our plan and our foundation that I want to get across to our kids about our vision, our mission, our strategy, and how we go about preparing. And, and I think our kids feel more comfortable of what my expectations are and, the accountability piece that's so important in this game. And I think they're more excited about the way we've taken this program to new levels. We've done a lot more in team building that I make very clear that we need to come closer together as a football team and get to know one another. And my coaching staff has done a great job. Our players have, and and those are the things that I sense through all of camp as you've been out there. Guys understand the terminology and the system of offense, defense, special teams, and what those expectations are every day. And they're delivering on what they really cared most about, and that's playing this great game of football and representing the university at Buffalo.
Matt, can you talk about that, how it impacts you guys as players, and how you think it may help you guys be better this season?
Yeah, I mean, having the year under our belt, has really brought the team, closer together. Spending all summer together, working out, being together all year. I mean, coming into this fall, I feel like we were already just really far ahead from last year. With the scrimmages, we look like we're ready to play now. I'm just excited to get out there on Saturday and finally show what we can do.
The wide receivers that you have, Marcus, then you go down to Ed Young, who had 3 touchdowns against UConn. What has Chaz said about the caliber of wide receivers? He's coming over from Cincinnati, and he's got to be still pretty excited about the weapons he has.
Yeah, he knows that they're a talented bunch of guys, and he has a number of guys to go to, and that's a nice thing to have as a quarterback. And we feel like our matchups with our personnel are going to create some advantages for us. And I know Chaz feels comfortable with the way those guys are out there running routes, and we see that in our run game. They're more committed to blocking. As I said earlier, and some of our big run plays have been because our receivers are downfield and getting into fits on safeties and allowing our backs to spring some big plays. So now I'm excited about, really that group of kids, that wide receiver core, and, being able to have Chaz and his maturing experience and ability to understand the game and what we want from that position, his experience running our system. It's a good feeling going into game 1, and we're going to continue building on our kids and their ability to make big plays down the field, be an explosive offense, and obviously keeping defenses off guard.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about Andre Davis and why you moved him over and what he did to earn that position?
Andre's a very talented young man and a very good football player. And when you really look at a good player, you know that they could play multiple positions. And, we just had a need at the offensive position. The offensive line needed another guy interior to come over, and we felt Andre, being in our program, understood how important that was to this football team. And so, we approached him, and, and he was all for it, and he wanted to make that move, and it's obviously benefited greatly to improving our offensive line.
3 freshmen probably starting on Saturday on the line, and a lot of times this guy is the only entrenched player. How do you feel about the line going into this first matchup?
Well, with Matt and Graham, I mean, those two young men have played a lot of football for us, and they've done a great job in bringing those young kids along and communicating with them, and and that's what you're looking for. Great communication on the inside on your offensive line. But those young kids are hungry. They're hungry to prove what their value and worth is, and and two of them were with us all spring now. So it's not like they've been only with us during camp. Really, everybody was with us all spring. So when you look at Barb and Guy and Andre Davis, they've been with us all spring. So it's not like these guys just came in 3 weeks ago and have earned their their time in terms of being the starters.
Just playing a game at Pitt also great in terms of recruiting. Pennsylvania being so competitive for players, is that part of the draw for you? Besides obviously the top-notch competition, the opportunity to put Buffalo in a spot where college football is or high school football is very good.
Well, that's a great stadium. Heinz Field's, is a great stadium. Playing a great program like Pitt with the traditions and, winning national championships and Heisman Trophy winners. I mean, those are the things that you look for. That's why we sign up to play against these non-league opponents such as Pitt. And we'll do that with Tennessee and UConn to give our kids a chance and our fans and a chance to see what major Division I college football is all about. And certainly we're going to go down into Pennsylvania and recruit. There's a lot of tremendous football players. There's one sitting right next to me, and we're glad that everybody overlooked them, so to speak, as they say. We didn't overlook them. We knew exactly what we were doing when we were recruiting Matt. So we're excited, and we've had a number of other kids that have been a part of Richie Smith and Matt Weiser's another one, and so we're excited about bringing our football team to Pitt. And like I said, very eager and very excited. So we're looking forward for the challenge.
Matt, Coach mentioned Chaz's maturity and how he's been around the block. Would you say in the short amount of time that he's been here, he's really established himself as a leader amongst the guys?
Yeah, I feel like being a super senior, fifth-year guy, that really helps with the leadership on the field. He's always, getting the offensive line ready to go because without us, protecting for him, he knows, he can't really do what he needs to do. And, it's just great to have, a guy out there just directing everything. And I feel like we're starting to click and we should be, have a really good explosive offense.
Matt, you guys have played pretty competitive against Pitt the last 2 times you played them. They've lost to a MAC team at home in the last 3 or 4 years. Are those all the things that some of the guys are thinking about as you go into this game, against a potential top 25 team? Do you have that stuff in the back of your mind?
I think maybe a few guys do, but there's not many people on the team still that we have a lot of new guys playing for us that don't really know much about Pitt. Everyone's just eager to get out there and look for a great opportunity to play, a Big East school and have a great opportunity to win this game.
Jeff, one would assume they're going to try to come at your young secondary, see what they can accomplish there. How much of a help is that they face a similar offense in practice every day? And then, too, how difficult is it to put pressure on that style of offense?
Well, you never can replace experience, certainly, but I feel comfortable that, with the quality of receiving core that we lined up every day against our secondary, they've been, challenged. And we've put them in a lot of situations, game-like situations throughout all of camp. We've crafted up by design and sometimes by surprise, to put those kids in those challenging situations that they're going to have to face. And also the advantage, like I said, you brought it up, it's a great point. We're trying to move our offense in a high tempo, no huddle fashion. And so our defense has been able to see that fast pace of offense being run at them. And I know Coach Graham has been, very, very he's been advocating to make sure that he gets between 12 and 18 seconds in that range to getting the ball snapped, and that's our goal also. And again, it's just a matter of how fast we can continue putting pressure on the offense, or excuse me, our defense this week. That's going to get them really honed into how to play against the speed and the tempo of Pitt. And now it's going to, now you're going to have to see those kids coming right at you. So I feel comfortable that our defensive backs have done a very nice job in terms of defending and being in the right place and communicating. But they're going to be challenged just like everybody on that side of the ball. So I feel good. Front seven's going to help a lot. I think they've been a real solid group for us. I feel having Courtney out at corner and Nigel Johnson and some of those key backups, we've got good players over there that are willing to, step up and show what their worth is.
And a lot of people know what it's like to gain 22 pounds, but not a good 22 pounds. Can you explain how you feel, how you've adapted to becoming bigger? And there's a guy here, Jake, who's gained 54 pounds under Coach Duvall. So
Yeah.
explain a little bit what it's like as a person just getting that much bigger and that much stronger in one offseason.
It feels great. I feel, faster, very explosive now, and a lot stronger than I have. Even with the injury, I feel like, I came back even stronger. I'm just right back where I was, if not better. This offseason, everyone committed and worked out hard. We were in there every day, all summer, and just really dedicating ourselves to getting bigger, and just get ready for the season.
What do you gotta eat to gain 22 pounds?
I guess, what don't you eat to gain 22 pounds?
Matt, have you thought a little bit about, Coach mentioned how inspiring your comeback has been. It's a little shy of a year ago where, it was pretty low for you. Have you thought about what you've been able to accomplish and the fact that you're back here ready to start a season?
Yeah, I'm really amazed because I thought maybe when I was going to go to the hospital, see the doctor, they're going to be, saying, your career's over. But for them to tell me that I would be able to, have another chance at it, I was, just using that as motivation to get healthy, do everything I can, and then just have the opportunity to be on the starting lineup again.
When you look back on that with, whatever you want to say, but I don't want words in your mouth, but the opportunity you now get, you can remember being down there on the field and parents are running out there and the ambulance is coming out. Do you now look at that thinking, this is bonus time? You're in a great spot.
Yeah, yeah, that's what, sorry. Yeah, for sure. It's definitely, a great time to look at it and then just be like, I could have ended it right then, but now, yeah, it's like a bonus year and, I'm doing well. I'm just excited now.
How long was the recovery in terms of when could you lift and run and do those things?
I was able to start running right around spring ball, so I was out there at practice just running around while the team was practicing, and then by the time the summer came, I started really lifting and getting back into it to prepare for camp.
Coach, with all that's been made of Chaz, the wide receivers, defensive backs, front seven, perhaps the most overlooked position has been the backfield this summer. If I'm an average fan, tell me what I should know about Jeff Von Gill and the other guys back there.
And it really is. It's been great to see how well those kids have adapted to our new position coach and Matt Simon. Matt comes with a tremendous amount of experience, and he's coached a player like Bo Oliver, Javon Gill, Anthony Taylor, a number of those kids, and I feel strongly that those guys are much better prepared each and every day in meetings and being able to go and apply that on the field. We've helped them, with some of the things that I've been able to do with our offensive run game and along with our protection. So I feel strongly that those guys are going to be, well prepared. They're going to play hard. Bo Oliver is one of the hardest working players I've been around as a coach. Every single play. He is as locked in as any player that I've coached. And, he goes out there and plays as hard as he can. And that's what you love about him. And now he's starting to gain more and more confidence because his teacher, his mentor, somebody that has been there, is doing a tremendous job with him in understanding, how to run the ball, how to set up blocks, how to keep people engaged in blocks. And, I'm excited about watching our run game unfold this year.
As much as we talk about this passing offense by nature of the spread, is the running back, Graham, maybe their best weapon on offense? And can you talk a little bit about, what you have to try to do to stop him?
Well, and Coach Graham will tell you, they're a run-first, play-action, pass team, and Ray Graham certainly adds a very talented running back with the ball in his hands, and I fully anticipate him getting a tremendous amount of carries from that standpoint. So, you know, and again, he's quick, he's elusive. He's, you know, obviously I've seen him in space making guys miss open field tackles. You know, and we're going to have to do a great job of one-on-one tackling. You know, and then when we can get our guys to the point of attack and getting our pads on him, you know, we got to rally to the ball carrier. You know, and we have to be relentless in our pursuit. We have to play, you know, with a complete mentality that we're going to play 4 quarters with high energy, and I believe our kids are ready to for that challenge. But Ray's going to be he's going to be an interesting guy for our defense to keep track of, because they do have some weapons on the offensive side along with their wide receivers. So they've got some good players and certainly a good scheme that's going to try to challenge our kids.
Do you have any updates on John City? How's he doing?
Yeah, John is not going to be able to. It's in his best interest, and we fully support John that you know, he's not going to be playing football this fall, and you know, certainly it was a tough decision, but the right decision.
What was his injury?
Concussions. You know, he's had a couple concussions, and I think you just, you know, looking at it and some of the symptoms, I think he feels, and our medical staff, it's really not so much up to John as it is the medical staff, and then they made the right call, and you know, John's still around our program. You know, he's done a great job, and you know, you can only imagine this is. You know, you talk about Matt and how much he loves football and how much he cares about UB. John is the same way. And so, fortunately, we get a guy like Matt coming back, and he's able to do it, and he wants to do it. And John isn't so much that he doesn't want to do it. It's just the fact that he can't do it, and it's in his best interest. But we can be more proud of having John around our football program, and it's a tough situation right now. But he's getting through it every day, and he's got his degree. And we couldn't be more proud of John City.
What are the other injury updates? Anybody else out with Steele Line and Carlson?
Yeah, you know, those guys are they're upgraded. You know, they're a little bit. I think they're more questionable / probable. I mean, we're hoping to get them right out of that potential upgrade to where are they going to play. You know, I'd love to get both of them in there. I think Carlson's a little bit further ahead than Vio. And we hope to have Jason ready to play on Saturday, and we're going to see how he does today. Guys that are definitely out, you know, we talked about John City, Dalton Barksdale, who's was a key backup on the defensive line. You know, Adam Redden, who's a safety, and Jake Reeder. Those were probably the main 4 from that standpoint. But we've been relatively healthy, and we feel good about where we're at.
Coach, you were 2-0 last season when you were leading at the half, and 0-10 if you were tied or trailing at the half. How important is it for you at Pitt to get an early lead?
Well, you know, whether you're leading or behind, you know, it's still a 4-quarter game. And, you know, as I tell our players, no matter what the scoreboard, you know, reads, you're playing every snap. If every single guy just locks into playing this great game, executing the things you've been coached to do, and just turn it loose, good things happen at the end of the fourth quarter. And, you know, so I don't really put a lot of stock into, you know, whether we were winning or losing at halftime. You know, you still have a second half to play, and it's 4 quarters of football. And we have that. You know, our practice has been geared towards that. You know, and certainly I fully anticipate our kids to make sure that the last snap looks nothing different than like the first snap. I want every single player playing every single play, every single down with everything they have. And good things happen to those football teams that do that.